Setting the Bar, a podcast by Workbar. I'm Maddie.
I'm Sarah.
And we are here with Kevin Cooney. It kind of feels like old home week, guys.
It does.
Because we got a lot of connections up in here.
We do.
We were just talking about some of them, like Hurley, our producer, DJ'd your wedding.
Greatest guy in the biz.
He's the best. He became a boss this week, we just learned.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
he has
that's pretty
employees.
exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
an employee.
The company is literally doubled in size.
Right.
That's
Wow.
pretty. That's pretty wild.
Hurley's crushing it. And so many other great connections. Kevin is a Workbar member. He's done some very funny content for us before, and we're just glad to have you.
Good to be back.
Good
Good
to
to be
have you in
back.
the studio.
Yes. I know I haven't seen you guys in forever.
I know.
Good to see you.
It's crazy that it's already basically July.
It's insane. Someone was like, "Oh, what are you doing for the 4th?" And I was like, "Oh, that's in what, 2 months?"
Right.
And they're like, "No, it's next week." I was
Next
like,
week.
"Really?"
So
Yeah.
I have a friend who says this every year, and it used to really depress me, and now I'm just like, wow, no, she's right. It's like after the 4th of July, summer's over.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that?
I do.
Especially in like my world, we're on like the retail calendar with brands, so they're already talking back to school in emails.
Yes.
And I was like,
Wow,
back to
you're like,
school.
oh, that just gave me back to school.
Isn't that
anxiety.
insane? Yeah,
Ooh,
my stomach
tummy
drops.
hurts.
So it's
Yeah.
like, ooh.
See, as the parent of a 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, when I hear back to school,
You're like,
I'm like, the best time of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they must have just got out.
They just got out. So
Okay.
I think we're down to maybe like 75 days left of.
Oh, not that you're counting.
not that I
Right.
don't have.
She's
It's an
counting.
oddly specific number.
I know.
Yeah.
There's
Weird
like
that
one
you.
of those like disaster clocks in your
There is.
kitchen. It's like,
There is.
You have an advent calendar
Yeah.
with chocolates each day.
But now, Kevin, you and Ashley are trying to have a baby.
Yes. Yes.
Maddie and I can give you.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
I need
please.
all the parenting
Yes.
advice. Yes.
I want to say, and like I won't get emotional even though I want to, that I think it's so cool that you guys are sharing
I do
about
too.
your journey to conceive because full disclosure, I had a lot of trouble conceiving. I have 2 beautiful kids. I'm blessed beyond measure.
Oh, I love
it. But it is not just like get
Right.
pregnant and have kids.
Right.
So I love that you're sharing that. I love that you guys are normalizing that journey. It's very funny to hear you talk about like having to get laid too much. Like no guy in the world feels bad
Just
for
a piece
you.
of meat.
Just
You
a
know,
piece of
that's,
meat.
yeah.
Used and abused.
Yeah, exactly.
That cracks me
exactly.
up, and it makes me laugh because I like so vividly remember being
do
that
too.
girl, being like, "Oh my God, it's time!"
Yes.
and it's just like I don't care how you feel.
Right.
Right.
Well, I had no idea
me
there was
baby.
only like, you hear in, I think you have the 1 semester, if that, of like sex ed
I
in middle
know,
school.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they made it seem like, okay, the moment you have sex,
You're going to get
Yeah.
pregnant.
she's going to be pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when really there's like 4 days,
Right.
If you're
you know?
lucky.
Yeah, it's got to
Right.
be like a full
Yeah.
moon
Yeah.
and you have to have like,
waxing, waning,
yeah, it's
the
like-
whole thing.
Yeah.
I know it's so crazy.
It is funny to think about what they teach you in high school, like how, or middle school, like how you think you're
Yeah.
always going to get pregnant.
Yeah,
But
I know.
it's not. But
Yeah.
Well, I think about it so much. You spend your whole life from like 13 to whenever being like, "Don't get pregnant, don't get pregnant,
Right.
don't get pregnant," and then you're like, "Oh, I want to get pregnant." It's like,
right, right.
The joke's
Oh,
on
is
you.
it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
No,
and now they have like, she has like the Aura ring.
Oh, yeah.
And the apps that
Yeah.
like everything syncs together.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's- it is.
There's
It
like a
is.
30-second moment glowing.
It's crazy.
window. It
Yeah.
is
it's like, get home right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
but we put everything out there for the world. Like we are so that's kind of like the business we're in is
Yeah.
we signed
Yeah.
up to be on social and we share the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know,
love it.
so all the behind the scenes is
I don't.
public.
I've gone down the Kevin Cooney and Ashley wormhole recently in preparation for
Love it.
our podcast,
Love
and
it.
I don't know what it was. It might have been like TikTok or your really good podcast where you guys were talking about what type of content gets the most engagement. And were you saying, was it like your relationship content?
For sure.
For sure.
Oh my God,
That's
yeah.
cool.
We have like it's called the content circle. So it's like the 11 different categories that we'll post about.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, and it's weird because it really looks like a pie chart, if you can picture
Does it
that.
really?
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
cool.
like each thing has, a certain % of airtime that it gets. So it
Yeah.
used to be like, I used to do these like morning alarms, and that used to be
Yeah.
like 50% of the pie chart. And now that's like down to like less than 2%. You know,
Wow.
Why
and
do you
then
think that is?
it's just like we're always trying to evolve.
Okay.
And I say to Ashley a lot, like we can never blockbuster ourselves. Meaning, like, what has worked and what's gotten us here will not continue to have us grow. So on almost a weekly basis, we're constantly tweaking and seeing what's
So
working.
interesting.
And
That's so
we like, and I say Blockbuster because it's like that old story of Blockbuster
right.
where Netflix
When you said that, I
comes to
immediately knew what you were talking
right,
about.
like,
yeah.
and for those that don't, like, Netflix came to Blockbuster, basically like, oh, I have this little company, a streaming service, like, would you like to buy it?
Yeah.
They laughed him out of the room. Boom. You know,
who's laughing
I think there's
now,
like one Blockbuster in
Right.
Alaska that's, you know,
Yeah.
still operational, but.
I saw that on Amazon, that one last Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that actually.
Yeah.
It's probably very
And so yeah, the relationship stuff does well. Like we're noticing now, like when you post different content, like once we started doing the whole TTC stuff,
Yeah.
it opened us up to like the new moms
Right.
on the internet, and then we got this influx of people being like, "I'm so glad we found you guys," and they had no idea, and yeah, it's weird. And then like you know, like all things go well, you know. Once you know a baby does
Yes.
come, hopefully,
Yep.
then it's like we'll post all about the baby, like, and that'll
Right.
bring us. You know what I mean? Like we're just
It's that
constantly.
evolution. And
Yes.
it's like
Cool.
you're taking us with you. I love that.
Me too. And I think it's so cool because there are tons of couples out there. And obviously, we're a little biased because we're a Boston company
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
this is a Boston podcast. But I feel like this is such a great town to do what you guys are doing.
Totally.
Because in other places, like the couples that I see in LA, or like I'm sure now you know all about like the Texas moms or
Yes.
the Mormon
Yep.
moms. Shout out to my girl Kara, who is an ex-Mormon.
If you can't see viewers, I just rolled my eyes at Maddie.
But
Continue.
all of those moms
Yep.
and couples aren't super relatable to me anyway.
Totally.
And I think probably to like a lot of the population
Yeah.
this side of the country or even in Boston. And it's so cool to have like, first of all, down home Boston girl who has a great Boston accent.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Love it. And just like a New England guy. And you guys are just making it work like every other couple does.
Yes,
And
yep.
it's just so nice to see. And I think that like Boston is such a cool city for that because I've seen you out. I've seen you at different events. Like people recognize you.
They do.
Do you feel like you guys get mobbed yet?
It like if we go to like Cisco and Seaport or like Southie, it's like as the night gets later,
Yeah.
it gets more and more hectic.
People get braver.
Yeah.
We're big like you'll see we're big like brunch people. You
Yeah,
know, we
I
don't
get
really
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You back to like evolving. We've done the going out.
Yeah,
you know, we
for
used
sure.
to. Geez, we do like Capo Basement or something
Oh my
in
God.
Southie. Oh my God.
Trigger.
Or like Lincoln or you
Yeah,
start to
yeah,
get the
yeah.
like,
You're
we can all taste
"Ah,
McGillicuddy. So
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
we'd get mobbed then, but I always tell people like Boston's even on the branding side, a lot of our friends are in LA and they're like, you guys you're in the influence space, you got to move out here. And we're like,
No.
like
Yeah.
in LA, there's a influencer every few feet.
Right.
Whereas
Totally.
you get more exposure being, one of few rather than
Big fish,
in
small
LA.
pond.
Right. Exactly.
Totally.
I was listening to my Kevin and Ashley
love it.
Cooney Wormhole,
Love it.
your podcast that you did maybe a few months ago at this point, where I think you and Ashley had just gotten back from LA, and I was like, oh, Maddie, we should do like let's talk about the differences between Boston and LA, but that
Yes.
could take on
I
sort of a
know.
negative
Yes.
turn. I feel like, right?
Yes.
The three of us,
Not
we don't
that
have
we're-
anybody defending LA
Yeah.
here, which
Yeah.
do they need to be defended? Probably not. But I thought it was so interesting how you guys sort of said that the one thing people in LA always say is like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I was like, in Boston, we're like doers.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Like no one in Boston's like, oh, I'm gonna be an electrician. You just see
Right.
the
Yeah.
8 vans
Exactly.
that are like
Yeah.
Bill's electrical work. You know.
Yeah, totally.
That was our one and only time out there, and we spent a good amount of time there, and all the events we were at, we would look people up after.
Yeah.
We
Right.
thought we just met the next big actor.
Right.
Right.
And then we'd look them up, and we're like, oh, they don't post anything.
Right.
You know.
They have 800
But-
followers.
Wild. There's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
a personality.
Right. It's really strange.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of like, I'm gonna, and then
Right.
not a lot of I'm doing, or I just exited from. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
not a lot of that.
Lots of
Yeah.
exits. Lots of exits.
Yeah, we're like on, like Boston. It's like I don't know whether it's like I come from like the tech world.
Yes.
Working in tech sales, and you meet with those guys, and it's a lot of like former exits, and now they
Yeah.
rolled that over to these companies,
Yeah.
and that trickles down to all these doers, and Boston's just like a this blue collar,
Yeah.
doer town.
Gritty.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Yeah.
gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, by now everybody knows this about you, but you, as a side hustle, talk about doing,
Yeah.
like, flipped free furniture.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that is, like, really emblematic of this city in general, but just kind of, like, your coming up with Ashley is just like, no, like, I'm going to flip furniture.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this work.
Yes,
And I
100%.
love that. And I think, like, we talk a lot about that being nimble and dynamic at Workbar, but it's interesting how even on, like, a small scale of just a husband and wife business that is yourself,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
you got to stay nimble too. You're like, okay, well, the people can't just have, Mark Wahlberg jokes forever.
Right,
Even though they
100%.
hit every time.
100%.
It's like, oh, we got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it's very cool to see. Very cool to see.
Super entrepreneurial too. I also listened to the podcast about where you were, I think, interviewing somebody who also does it as well, or did it, like you guys shared like a storage unit. That's like a hustle.
That is a
like a
hustle.
hustle.
Yeah, that was a caller who called in, and she heard about the couches. Her and her husband started doing it, and they made $10K their first month
Did they really make
Wow.
off
that?
of free furniture. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
so
So Maddie's
time
like,
I'm
I could use another side hustle. That's
yeah,
what Maddie's
so
thinking.
yeah, I'm literally like, tell me all the details. No, but I do think like stuff like that is so cool, and you don't see it everywhere.
no,
You just
and the
don't.
barrier to entry, I'll get a ton of DMs of being like, oh, what's the cost of gas? Or like storage unit. I'm
Oh,
like,
come on.
or like, oh, well, it
it's gonna
took
be a
you,
hater.
you drove to, Quincy during rush hour to get the couch, and then you sold it up in Manchester, New Hampshire. Like,
Hater.
Wait,
That
are
was-
you kidding that people say that to you?
oh my God, but then those same people have no problem. I'll then audit their accounts.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll go on Instagram and I'll see someone's got, 8 reels in a row talking about Yellowstone. I was like,
Oh,
so you have no
God.
problem sitting at home watching Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Right.
But God forbid,
You go out
you
and
go out and do
hustle.
something for yourself to
Right.
pay
Right.
off your own debts.
Right.
Now you're evaluating like, oh, my
Right.
time's worth a lot more than,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
my
What's it like
gosh.
as you guys become more well known? Do you feel like you get more of that kind of like pushback and just general trolling and hating?
We luckily, like, we get such little hate on the internet.
awesome. I hope it stays that way while you guys are trying to conceive. I just got like a wave of
Yeah, it's weird. Well, you get like she does so well with it. For me, it's like, I
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
from like, I
whatever.
played like football from 6th through college, so it's
Yeah.
like you're so
Yeah.
used to coaches your whole career. Like
Right.
anything you do, they're gonna have something nasty to say back, so it
Right.
like rolls off the back. She doesn't come from that world whatsoever,
Yeah.
and she was like classic introvert. Ideal day was spent at Barnes and Nobles.
Right.
Like loves read. I call her Matilda. Like she loves just curling up and
that's
reading
the
books.
best.
Yeah.
And then when we first got together, she hated the camera.
Did she?
She just don't film me, don't get me on camera. And I was like, I'm never gonna ever
Right.
push you to do anything.
Yeah.
It's weird though. Like as we were together all day long,
Right.
And slowly, the influencer influenced his
Yeah.
girlfriend at the time.
Yep.
Right.
And she starts picking up a camera, and then she starts posting her own content, and then she gets her own agent, and then she leaves her own job to go full time. Like it was all her,
That's
Wow.
cool.
but it was just like it was cool watching her go from total bookworm
Yeah.
Yeah.
to now like she's working with the brand as we speak. That's why she couldn't make
That's
it today. So
awesome.
it's so cool to see the
Yeah.
evolution
That's
of
so
it.
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I hope it stays that way because I see so many of these accounts kind of end up like petering out because they just
Yeah.
it turns into like harassment at some point.
Yeah.
And that stinks. So I'm glad to hear that. That's
Yeah,
very cool.
no, it's I think there's a lot of nowadays. There's a lot you can do to you can filter comments out.
Yeah.
You could have certain words that you don't let
Yeah,
people
you can, like,
comment.
protect
Yeah.
yourself.
So, but I've seen a lot of creators too lean into the hate. And there's this
Yeah.
one girl in particular in New York. She used to take a hate comment and then do a video over the comment with the comment in the upper
Yeah.
corner. And I called her and I was like, hey, it's your platform. You do whatever you want to do, but if I'm a hater, you're giving me the green light to
Yeah.
now get my name on your
You're right,
videos that are
right.
getting millions of hits.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
And the videos would go crazy viral.
Yeah.
And consequently, she would get more and more and more.
Interesting.
Of course you would,
Yeah.
because people would want that recognition.
Right.
Totally.
And the awareness of it.
Yeah.
There's a poet, her name's Kate Bear, and she does, I forget exactly what she calls them. They're not called erasure poems, but it's along those lines that she writes these beautiful poems, mostly about womanhood and parenthood. But she gets so much hate, and she'll take the paragraph that these like angry men write and turn it into like a women's empowerment
wow.
poem.
See,
And
that's
it's just
cool.
Like, yeah.
I
That's
love
cool.
that.
It's a cool way to do it because you're just like, oh, no, you stinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I can
crazy.
turn your words around.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, we luck out like very, very little hate on the internet.
great.
That's awesome.
And
Good.
then, we're constantly, we're always looking for what's the next play.
Yeah.
You know, like what's the next thing to get into. So we announced a couple episodes ago, but we bought 3 locations of Sweat House down in South Florida.
Congratulations.
So yeah, we're officially in the franchisee community. Yeah, so we're excited for that. So we'll have
That's awesome.
location. The goal is to open up 3 in 18 months. So we'll have first one open end of the year and then 2 after that.
Wow. Congrats.
That's awesome.
So we're
we
like-
had Nico on our podcast a
Couple
few
episodes
months
ago.
ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Maddie and I might get into the franchise business. We thought it was
Could not recommend it enough. Yes.
Amazing.
so cool.
It's
yeah.
so cool.
Wait, so we're in South Florida.
So right now we're looking at heavy at Delray.
Okay. Do you love
Yeah,
Delray? Okay.
I wanted Miami. So
Yeah.
Jamie, the founder,
Yeah.
Right.
he became a mentor of mine, and now like he somehow I was on a call with him this morning. I'm like his little brother. So like
I love that.
anything good or bad, we'll jump on a FaceTime. Or if I have a
amazing.
question, I'll jump on a FaceTime with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think if we do this, so it started at I sent him a text, and I was like, hey, what? He sent me a video of from Raising Cane's, Todd Graves, who owns Raising Cane's.
Yeah.
Did a collab where Todd Graves made Post Malone a franchisee of Raising Cane's. So Post Malone is a franchisee.
That's
Has his own
hilarious.
location. It's all decked out like Post Malone would have it.
Yeah.
And he sends me that video, and I didn't think much of it at the time. I was like,
Yeah.
thumbs up it, I think,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, love the video.
Yeah.
And I think he was really planting the seed because it was weeks later. I texted him being like, oh, what if I bought 3 licenses from Sweat House and
Yeah.
opened them up on my own in Miami? And then he was like, he works in mysterious ways. Like he sends
he's
me a
like,
video,
weird.
and he's like, if you can be in Atlanta where they're headquartered the following Wednesday, he's like, I'll make it worth your while. So I fly down there.
Wow.
And he's like, I know you wanted Miami. He's like, but hear me out. And he has this big pitch of why it should be Delray.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I agreed, and I was like, done. Let's do it.
That
So we'll
is
do
so
3 in Delray,
exciting.
which
That's
is
awesome.
yeah, we're pumped.
I love that. It's so you have such an entrepreneurial spirit about you, Kevin. From like the flipping the couches to the probably one of the first content creators I started to follow
Yeah.
to now becoming a franchisee. And I love that you're always looking for the next. You know that like you can't sit still. You know that you have to keep evolving. Where do you see content creation going over the
Ooh, I
next
love
like
that
decade?
question.
I think something we're playing a lot with right now is, I think in the next decade, maybe not the next 5 years,
Yeah.
I think AI influencers
Yeah.
will be huge.
Well, they say like 90% of what we see online is going to be
Yeah.
produced by AI in the future.
So I think the play, what we've been in a lot of meetings for is, I think the play is to so what's going to happen, I
Yep. think,
is brands will get an AI influencer that looks like you, sounds like you, but pay them a quarter of what your actual rates are.
Yep.
So the play is to have a separate account that is an AIU.
Nice.
That's content that looks like you, sounds like you, but you're not producing it. You're not in front of the camera.
Interesting.
So like if you do something like this where you're in front of the camera a lot,
Yeah.
they can just sync all those files and take your face.
Help me.
And now apply it to anything. Maybe it's me going for a walk promoting off bug spray.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one on the walk, and I'm not the one doing the script or anything.
Right.
So I think AI influence is going to be huge. I think that's I don't think in the next 5. I think right now,
Yeah.
brands are finally realizing, the big legacy brands are like, oh, I think instead of, millions of dollars on print, billboard, and TV advertisements, we could take the same money and diversify it across,
Yeah.
100 different influencers,
Right.
and get a better return.
Right.
Yeah.
That's at least what we're seeing. It's weird. We'll get emails from McDonald's, Target, Ray-Ban, Meta. Those are like current partnerships.
Right.
And I'm like, what are we really gonna move the needle for McDonald's?
Yeah.
They've sold billions
Everyone
and
knows where they
billions.
are.
Right.
So when brands like that reach out, I'm like, okay, they
get it.
They clearly see the value. I get it for the ma and pa's and the startups and stuff.
Yeah.
But once those legacy brands, reach out, I'm like, oh, then that means,
Yeah.
We made
all,
it, baby.
all Fortune 500s are probably thinking the same thing. And
Yeah.
So I think in the next 5, I think it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger for influencers. And then I do think it reaches a peak where rates are astronomical.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then I think it goes the AI route. They know they could dub your voice and your look and pay a quarter of what, your actual rate is per video.
Yep.
But yeah, that whole world is...
Yeah, that whole world makes me so anxious, as you know. Anytime we talk about the AI stuff, or I'm just like, what? Just raising kids in this next chapter of tech is... And we had a guest on, I don't know, you might have met him out and about, Bennett Collin from N State. He's doing some really cool stuff, but we talked about that, and he was saying, like, really, if you like look back and think about it, any tech before it was mainstream, we were all wary of.
Totally.
So I know that it will all just integrate like everything else, but the AI stuff just feels almost like a bridge too far. Like there's no coming back from it.
It's like opening Pandora's box.
Totally.
It's like...
I actually saw in the Globe this morning, that might have been yesterday, I don't know, that Boston police ordered those black and yellow AI, the robot dogs.
Oh, really?
What are they called?
I'm not sure.
I can't think of their name. They're like, if you heard the name, you'd be like, oh yeah, you hear it. But they're going to be doing like crime scene investigation.
Wow.
Because they're so understaffed, and,
Right.
and crime is up after the pandy. And I'm just like, after the pandy, and now we have robot dogs
I love
on
that.
BPD.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm just-
crazy.
I'm here for it.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why we're good
see.
too.
I don't
I'm
know if
just
this.
like, oh.
I don't know if this makes you feel better or worse. It gives me a little peace, I guess. Elon Musk said, once AI is out of its box, we know how it ends. Like the robots kill the humans.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's right.
So like if you know like okay, if we're here and we know like AI doomsday is over here, and maybe we're like here, and who knows if this is 30 years, is it
Yeah.
100 years?
Right.
Yeah.
At least we know how it ends.
Yeah.
That's true.
Then it's like, all right, we kind of just like ride the wave, and
That's actually-
we
that's
know
the way
where
There we
it's.
go. Yeah.
You know?
Either you are very well medicated, or I'm like, I wish I could think that way regularly. You're just like, yeah, let's just ride it out. We're gonna get shot by
That's honestly the
robots at
same
30
pitch I give to
100.
people that are debating on. Like I have a twin sister who, she's in the medical field, isn't loving medical field, wants to get on social.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm just worried about the judgment. And I give the same thing, and I was like, tell me. I think I said on a pod a while back, and there's some saying out there, and I'll butcher it, but it's like you have 3 generations of people that even know your name, and then after that, no one
my
knows you
God.
exist. So to my own twin, I go, what's dad's father's name? Just his name.
Yeah.
Right.
And she was like, I don't know it either.
Right.
And I was like, right? We don't even know the guy's name.
Right.
Right.
What did he do for work?
Right.
Where did he live?
Right.
Probably Ireland, I assume. We have no idea.
Yeah.
We don't even know him. So when you pass away, your kids will know you.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
kids will know you a bit.
Right.
But your kids' will have no idea
Yeah,
what
it's
you
so
did,
true.
what you liked, what you hated, what you struggled through.
It's
so just
so true.
post.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think that is the way to live your life too. It's just like you can't let the people. There's another great saying my dad says all the time. It's like those that mind don't matter and those that matter don't mind. So it's like
Ooh, I like that.
anybody who you care about is going to be like, hell yeah, girl, quit
Yes.
that job in the
Yeah.
medical field.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, you do you.
Yes.
Right.
And if somebody's like, oh, you're an influencer now, you used to be a doctor, you're like, yeah, I'm significantly less stressed
Well,
out.
and
Right,
the influencers
totally.
are the ones laughing all the way to the bank. Right?
1,000%.
So it's like, who's winning
Kev's
in
like,
that
correct.
equation? Kevin's like, absolutely.
You better believe it.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
who's winning in that equation?
1,000%.
It's I
it's
agree.
crazy.
I
It's
agree.
crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, good for her.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
I know
Yeah.
the poor medical field is getting burnt out.
Yeah.
I feel
I mean,
that.
everyone's burned.
Everyone's
After
burnt
the
out.
pandy, just
They had
stuff to come back from. And then she always hates it.
that.
Like we have like family dinners almost every Sunday, and she's like a registered ICU nurse. She was at BMC for a while, so she sees
Wow.
like
Crazy.
all the gunshot stuff and
yeah.
anyone that comes in on like a medevac. And we'll get to family dinner, and my parents are always like, "We saw the video with so and so and so and so. Like, tell us about this, this, and this." And Colleen's like, "I'm over here, like,
Saving
busting my
lives.
ass."
Saving lives.
Yeah. Kevin's shaking his ass for Hubba Bubba, you know, for
You're
some
like,
big league chew collab.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
So it's unbelievable.
Hilarious. What have been some of the collabs that have been like the silliest so far? That you're like, wow, I can't believe I just made money for shaking my bum.
We did an ad for.
Ooh.
And this is how you guys actually might know this world even better than I.
Yeah.
I know had it, a similar situation with they'll have a marketing budget, and what they don't use each quarter they lose. When I was there at you have to bleep out that name as well. Just leave the money, but get rid of the names earlier to be perfect. They would have a marketing budget per quarter when I was there, and this was 2019. It was like $450,000 a quarter was their marketing budget.
Okay.
And and I was really close with a lot of the marketing girls and guys over there. And if they used, so 450 is the budget, and if they used 425, well then Q2 they only get approved for 425.
Oh, so you want to use all of it.
So we've done deals with them, and we've done deals with where we will. It was for Q1. We'll film, and then we're getting kind of close. The video has, for it to qualify as they pay you out, the video has to be posted. So it was like last week of Q1. Like, okay, yeah, we love the concept. If you can go and film it in our studio, perfect. We film it, and then they're like, ooh, we actually didn't like this, and this. Can you get back in the studio and refilm just those few scenes, edit it up, and send us back? And I was like, no problem. Yeah. But their studios were all booked out. Oh. So you couldn't get in there. So they're like, okay, let's see if we can move stuff around. They were going to put us in like hotels that had. And I was to my agent, Georgina, I was like, why are they really losing their cool?
Yeah.
Like, what's that? Like, can't we just post it like next Wednesday or film it next Wednesday? And they're like, let's do this. You already went in and shot the video. Don't post it. We'll pay you. And then we'll renew for Q2.
That's awesome.
And we were like, okay. We were like, sure. Yeah.
That is
So they paid
wild.
out full budget. We didn't have to post anything.
Wow.
And I was like, this is, and then we learned, I was like,
yeah.
I see. What you don't use, you lose.
Right.
Very interesting.
So that was eye-opening. So a lot of those,
Cool.
there's a good amount of those companies operate like that.
Yeah.
Where it's,
Interesting. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, you think about it like big budget problems. Like we're a tiny company, we have small marketing budget, and we do the best we can. It's like, oh my God, imagine having that and being like, oh God, well, we can't make it to 450.
Right.
Isn't that insane?
That's insane.
A lot of those like startups too that are like, I've noticed companies that are not profitable but run all these crazy investment rounds.
Yeah.
Will, they want to just keep projections going up and up and up. So their marketing budget will be huge.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I know, back then I heard you have to blurb out, you're going to kill me.
I know. He's like, this
was like that. I don't think even today they're profitable. That's how big tech runs.
Right. That's exactly how big tech.
Like it's so fascinating. A lot of, my brother-in-law is in cybersecurity, and he's gone through company after company where the founder will start it, and then 36 months later they'll all exit, and then they run it. It's almost like from The Office, the Michael Scott paper company, where it's like if we cause enough of a stink, someone's gonna give us big bucks to buy us out, and then we'll just do the same thing all over. You know what I mean?
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting.
It is so interesting. Yeah, it's cool to see around here, seeing companies like that really do the damn thing. Yeah. Does a good job. That's interesting.
They're awesome, and their story's cool too. Like the founder over there started in his mom's basement, in relatively not too long ago. It was like 2016.
Yeah.
And then they blew it up to.
They did.
I think even during they got evaluated. It was like 4.1 billion. I think that was at 2021.
Wow.
It was like mid-pandy.
Mid-pandy. Well, everybody was getting delivered during the pandemic. Yeah. Which is just crazy. I know. Yeah, all those companies really.
The pandy is I'm so happy you said that. That needs to be merch. Why isn't that merch?
Yeah, that's true. Well,
oh my God. Yeah.
Wow. It's the only way. It's like a non-traumatizing way to bring it up. Right. It's like if anybody says the C word, it's like, ooh.
Right.
The pandy's friendly. It was just a little.
Just a little pandy.
Flipping all of our
Who doesn't have a little pandy?
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah.
That is.
We recovered.
So good.
Yeah.
God, I love that.
It's funny, but it's cool. It's cool to see everybody growing after that.
Totally.
Too. Not just those companies that could have taken advantage of the situation, but
How did Workbar start?
Yeah, Workbar started a long time ago in 2009.
Okay, yep.
And the folklore of the story is one of our co-founders was subleasing space, which we were talking about the basement of South Station before we started recording, because people would be smoking and put their cigarettes out, and then you would just smell it in the space. But he was subleasing space to a tenant that went out of business overnight, and he and a few other entrepreneurs that were in the space went up to the landlords and said, we'd really love to stay here, but we don't want to sign like a long-term lease. If I can get more entrepreneurs to work here, could we work out some sort of an arrangement?
Wow.
And so it happened so organically. And we talk a lot, and this podcast is about Boston specifically, because I don't think that this co-founder was a serial entrepreneur in the tech industry, had exited a company, right before this, and was starting a new company. The startup scene in Boston was really small back then. It still really is, pretty small, but obviously very impactful and significant in the grand scheme of the entire universe. And so he attracted a lot of people to come work there, because like-minded individuals who didn't want to sign leases. The company life cycles were really uncertain. And so that's how Workbar started, and it moved from that location to another larger location near South Station, and kept growing. And then a pivotal point for Workbar came in about 2013-14, when the members in Boston said, and we had a location in Cambridge too, said, we really love this sort of dynamic, productive workforce. Why can't we do this out closer to where we live? Because commuting in Boston's no bueno.
No.
And so then Workbar started opening locations out in the suburban market. So
that was her idea.
No, it wasn't. It was one of our co-founders. But what I think is really sort of parallel is the idea of always looking in the future, and not, if the old answers no longer are relevant today, just because you don't have the new answers doesn't mean you should rely on the old answers. And so a lot of it is, you think about, God, co-working can't work out in the suburban market. People need to commute downtown to get that sort of environment. It's simply not true. And just because it doesn't exist today doesn't mean it's not going to be successful. And so having that, and that's really what saved us in the pandy. Is the fact that, bringing it back, is the fact that we had locations closer to where people live, so they didn't have to commute.
Wow.
Because thinking back to the pandy, people didn't like to get into public transportation, or be in a city.
Was there a lot, with new ideas in our space, there's very little pushback, because it's there's not a ton of red tape.
They're so unknown,
Did you get a lot of pushback when pitching, hey, maybe we go to Quincy or Woburn? Or
We did, because it didn't exist out there. And the concept hadn't been proven. So I think that the world of real estate is going to continue to be disrupted at such a remarkable rate that you're still going to see so many different changes over the next 5 to 10 years in the business we operate, and in this sort of one of the largest asset classes that we have in the world. You're going to see just major disruption as demand has shifted,
Totally.
So you have all of this supply, but demand has been impacted by, at this point it's probably 5 to 10%, but in the future it's going to be, 20, 30% of demand is going to go away. So when you have such a significant asset class that provides so much financial security out in the universe, it's all going to change.
Wow.
So staying nimble and staying sort of, I was doing a webinar yesterday, and I was like, one of the things I've learned is that if you make a mistake, you just, people make mistakes, but you have to act so quickly and rectify that mistake and not be afraid to say, I effed up. I need to, this doesn't work. I'm going to move in a different direction. And to be able to say that and do that, I think is something that people who have that sort of entrepreneurial spirit are okay. I haven't seen the results from this, and I'm going to monitor it super quickly. You and Ashley talking every single week about what you guys should be doing. That's how, we all talk at Workbar.
We sure do,
I'll get, and Maddie always says this to me too, it's I get really excited about something and I want it done that day, and then the next day, I've moved on to something new.
It's why are you working on that? I thought we were doing that.
So we are.
Okay, next.
It's cool that the culture in Workbar doesn't demonize mistakes like that, you know?
100%.
Because you can get down the rabbit hole of like, oh shit, I pitched this and we're
Right.
going for it and this is not working out.
Yeah.
And then they just stay the course until,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, Kevin, like my mistakes, like Maddie's mistakes.
Yeah.
Different story. I'm on the chopping block.
Get out.
No, but you know what? That's actually
so good.
very funny that you say that, because we just last week it was announced that we were on Inc. magazine's list for best workplaces.
Oh, wow.
And there
Yeah.
were a lot of reasons that it was like easy to say yes, it's a great place to work. One that I didn't think of
Yeah.
is that like it's such a cool environment to work in, and I think members get a benefit from it too, is that because it's so nimble, because it's so dynamic, and because it's like, oh, that's not a reflection of me personally, because I
Right.
thought some marketing tactic was going to pay off in spades
Right.
and it didn't. That's not like Maddie Ross is
No.
bad. It's
Right.
just like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And so I think you do have to be more entrepreneurial and maybe been raised in a family who supports that, which I think it sounds
Yeah.
like we all were. Everybody doesn't have that benefit, but it really is such a cool part about working at Workbar, because it's true and you learn so much
Right.
as you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that's another reason.
Yeah.
I love
you
that.
like that fast pace.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's okay to make the mistake as long as you
Yeah.
like have the recognition that you made it and you move on.
Totally.
Really, it's the moving on quickly.
Yeah. Right,
that is
totally.
really
Well, that's what
important.
too is like so hard for me about cancel culture, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you deal with this type of thing in your industry way more than we do. But it's like we're all human,
Right.
dude. Like, what happened to just being like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
people do bad things.
That
It doesn't
empathy.
make that empathy. It doesn't
Right.
make
Yeah.
them bad people. Of course, there are people out there who have been canceled who deserve it.
Right, right.
But so many, it's just like, oh wow, he said the wrong thing 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You're like, whew, okay.
Yeah.
And I think for whatever reason, no one looks in the mirror and audits themselves.
yeah.
You know, they'll
Yeah.
look at something someone said 2 decades ago.
Right.
Like, how could you? When they,
Right,
whatever they themselves might have said or done a similar
Right.
thing.
Right.
But they'll quickly, brush under the
Yeah.
rug as if it didn't happen and
Right.
then act perfect.
Right. So holier than thou. Yeah,
Right.
it's interesting.
It's like everyone has their flaws. Then to your point, yeah, we're all just human.
Yeah.
We're just all trying to make it work.
Right.
Yeah. No, and it's cool. I think about it too as like the evolution of Workbar, but also like you were talking about moving on to the next thing. It's cool to see some of our members who like started downtown,
Oh my
or, like, or
gosh,
city
yeah.
members who are now like raising family in the burbs and
Yeah.
are like members in need. And you're just like, we're all growing together.
Yeah.
Like that is such a cool
That's
part
probably
of
the
it.
best part of it is seeing, and also seeing a lot of the companies that started in our space, like get announced as like the next unicorn in Boston.
Right,
Yeah,
And,
right.
cool.
Like it's just and again, like going back to Boston, it's I just think of it as such a Boston like feeling and
Right.
the Boston story that
Totally.
and we all sit here cheering for one another to do well and to
Right.
and to do awesome good things out in the
Yeah.
universe.
And I think you guys are. I remember some of my first days at Workbar. I didn't know the levels you guys held at Workbar, because I was like, why
Yeah.
are they so like at other companies I worked at? You didn't have access to people of importance, you
Right,
know?
right.
Like,
Right.
you'd greet the receptionist on the way in, obviously,
Right.
but then if you
Yeah.
had a big question, it was like, well, that's got to go to your manager, and then the
Right.
manager's going to go up the chain of command.
Yeah.
When you guys are just like out and about, grabbing
Yeah.
coffee,
Yes. It's so cool that you notice that, because we talk about that a lot, like from a marketing perspective,
Yeah.
but it is so intentional on Sarah's part, and of course on the rest of the team too. Like we use the space like our members use the space,
Right.
because then we're having the same experience. So like
Right.
if Wi-Fi is out or like there's a really loud member, it's a problem for us too.
Right.
Right.
And it's not like, oh well, hopefully my manager will deal with it. It's like, no, we're going to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
cool that you
And
notice
also,
that.
Yeah, it was one of the
somebody
first
says,
things.
Like, oh, a CEO can't work out of a co-working space. It's like, well, sure they can.
Right.
You know,
Totally.
Yeah.
a content creator can't work out of a co-working
Right.
space. Of
Yeah.
course
No,
they can.
absolutely.
cool.
That was the
Yeah.
coolest. I was like, oh, they're like here. There's no like. I was like, is there a second floor with like
Yeah.
C
Their
suites?
offices.
Like, where's
Oh,
the
the C-suites.
Where's the like?
Get me one of those.
I know.
Yeah.
Talk about those.
Yeah.
You do deserve a little. We'll at the new locations we'll have like
at
the
a
mother's room
right.
and then the
It'll just be
There we go.
Yeah, it'll just be like,
Yeah. Maybe reserve a call room all
Right, yeah,
day
yeah,
and put your
yeah,
name on
yeah,
the
yeah,
window.
yeah.
You know, be
Then,
perfect.
then I'll feel important.
oh my god, that.
God, I love that so much.
Yeah.
That is great.
I think we have to ask like some
Oh,
rapid
yeah.
fire
Okay, okay.
questions. 'cause
Yes,
I
for
had
sure.
some I wanted
Okay,
to
yeah,
know.
go. Okay, I want to know most embarrassing work story. Most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you at work. Any job. It doesn't have to be as a content creator.
But then I want to also dive into, is it embarrassing filming content like around?
Yes. Yes. I will. Most embarrassing work story. I was at a tech startup, early days, and I was late for work. And I pull in, and classic startup environment. There's like coffee, snacks, kombucha everywhere. So before I grab my random workspace for the day, I pour this huge thing of stifling hot coffee, walk in, sit next to a coworker, put the coffee down, and then he said something, and I turned and smacked it, went all over his laptop.
Oh no!
Fried the laptop.
No.
And it was one of those things where I was like, he had a presentation coming up. He was in the next work block. He was like I noticed something was off because it wasn't the normal bro hug and tell me about the weekend. He was like right to it. What's up, Kevin? And then I just come in and late, spill a huge thing of coffee. It fries. He's like, no computer. I believe he went home that day. He was.
Have you seen him since?
Yeah. We now laugh about it.
Fired?
Boy, was that but I immediately went into his next meeting, which was a meeting I was not supposed to be in. I was like, so and so isn't going to be presenting today. I was like, bozo over here, and then I was like, and I think I ended with like a joke. I was like, but can I get coffee? Anybody? Anyway, black, 2 creams, 2 sugars. How do we want it? On me, on the house.
That is
my God.
And then
a tough one.
That was brutal. And then to your question, I am still trying to get over this. Because if I get caught filming content in public, social suicide. Like burn my phone.
Right.
But it's weird because we'll film content in public, and if we don't get caught, it gets posted. And then once it's posted, it's going to go out. Like the Target ones is most recently in my mind. And we'll make sure to go like midday, Monday, Tuesday, when hopefully, people are commuting or they're at work, whatever the case may be. Because God forbid someone sees us or says hello. It's like, but it's this like weird dichotomy because it's like that video's gonna get posted in hopes that like, oh, please have it go viral. Please get the eyeballs on it post production. It's almost like front of house, back of house. It's like I don't want people to see the
how the sausage is made.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but once the sausage is made,
it's like
eat it up.
It's delicious. Go nuts.
Yeah.
I also feel like there has to be some part of like stage fright almost.
Yes.
It's just like if nobody's watching, you can like be your silly self. But if people are watching, you're like all of a sudden performing.
100%. And for me, it's like I'm weird where it's like we might be in a public place, but I don't want my filming, which is right now there's no more like screaming morning alarms.
Right.
It's very tame.
Yeah.
I don't want it to even remotely disturb your day. Like if we're at a restaurant, like we went out a while ago with a couple of foodies, like food content creators.
Yeah.
And they get out the big light.
No.
And I was bright red faced.
Were you?
I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed for our server to see this. Everyone's looking. It's a darker restaurant. They're loud. They have the mics, and I'm like, I was like, just cooking your kid. Like, do your thing. Obviously, it's your content.
Right.
But yeah, and then each meal. That was the appetizer. Then the entree comes. Lights out again. Then dessert comes. Each cool dry ice beverage that comes over gets a big. I'm like,
yeah, that's tough.
I was like, this is my. I looked at Ashley and we were both giving each other a look like, this.
We will never.
Yeah, I was like, we got to get out of here. I was like, this is crazy. I can't do it. Cannot be caught in the act. Can't have it.
Can't be caught in the act.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so
Okay, you
funny.
can go back to rapid fire. That was
No,
slow
I
fire.
love that though. One of my rapid fires, because I'm not like super involved or into this, but Karen Reed, guilty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oof. So it's funny. I only catch the spark notes from my true crime wife.
Yes. Yeah,
who
girl.
lives for this stuff.
Right.
She was here.
Yeah, I know. She watches that religiously. From what she's caught me up to speed with, it sounds like she is not guilty, and there's a lot of foul play on the officers. Is what I'm hearing.
Kind of hear too.
That's what I'm hearing.
She was framed.
You think she was actually framed?
I do.
Do you think she hit him by accident? Nothing.
I don't.
Okay.
But like, what do I know?
Was it like do you think, so the story is like a car backs into him, he dies in the snow.
Right.
There was weird Google searches of like how long does it take to die in the snow, whatever.
Who hasn't Googled weird things?
It is a right.
How quickly does hydrogen peroxide dissolve the bones? Whatever.
Can you eat raw chicken? Okay. I've never. That's not my search history, but just can you have a medium rare chicken? I don't know.
Look,
Yeah.
Just asking for a friend.
Right.
That is very true. Yeah, I can't wait.
Right.
For it all.
When is where are we in, is it final verdicts coming up? What's happening?
Deliberating now, right?
Yeah. There was some,
I think. Yeah.
We were talking about this before. Something just came up. I have to look into it when we're done here. But something, she wrote a joke on a slip or something, or one of the jurors' slips had a joke on it. So who knows?
She's like, how long does it take for your boyfriend to die in the cold?
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see what the verdict is on that.
Yeah.
And then it's scary both ways. If it is the cops, how sad is that to think we have,
and we're a nice little suburb.
Right. I know. That is.
It's going to be a good movie one day that will probably star Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yes. Well, did you ever see Making a Murderer on Netflix? It was a while ago. Yeah.
Yes.
So
That was
that's
early
when.
Mandy days.
Yeah, early Mandy days. This is before Tiger King and no toilet paper, people. This was. That's like season 1 of the Band-Aid.
The flat and the curve days.
Yeah. That was go home for 2 weeks, flatten curve, we'll return. Because after Making a Murderer, that's when my brain was like, oh, maybe there are crooked cops. Not that all cops are bad.
No,
but
we
there's,
love cops.
you get the,
police.
Yeah.
all said
Is that we get framed.
We all said
not
on
back in the blue.
record.
Yes.
We love
Back in the blue, love cops. But there's crooked content creators.
There are.
Crooked CEOs,
Yeah.
crooked marketing
You're right.
girlies.
There's a crook in every department.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but after that, it opened my brain to be like, oh.
Yeah, some things aren't black and white.
Right. And then I was like, doesn't it sound exhausting to go through all,
I know.
let's say in Making a Murderer, you're the cop that allegedly cut into what's-his-face's blood sample that they had on file and then went to the crime scene. And doesn't it sound like, don't you just want to go home and relax after your shift?
Right.
Also, how do you sleep at night?
Right.
I think about doing stuff like that, not framing people for murder, obviously, but
I have a couple follow-up. I have some rapid fires of my own for you.
if we're being honest. But it's you have those thoughts, you're like, whoa, am I capable of whatever nefarious stuff?
Right.
I couldn't sleep.
No.
I would go nuts.
Yeah.
Being finger, it's just all
I
the
broke one of
stuff.
Ashley's plates by accident. We have 9 of them. We now have 8.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a big deal. And then it was 2 days went by and she started doing the dishes. And she's
Counting the plates.
Yeah. She's like, why? She's like, it's an even stack of plates. I was like, what? She's like, we had 9. There's 8. It's even. And I was like, yeah, it is. And then I caved instantly. I was like, I'm sorry. I was doing the dishes and I had the gloves on and it slipped and it broke and I cleaned it up. I got rid of the evidence. Yeah. Even that was
Get the light off of
yeah. I was like, sorry.
I know. Thank God for people like us.
Yeah, right.
Just can't even keep it together for 1 second.
Yeah,
or
100%.
Way more documentaries.
Yeah.
Any other exciting projects on the horizon?
Ooh.
That you're allowed to share about. We don't have to give Hurley any more bleep work.
Yeah. He's gonna.
We're filming a sizzle for a dating show in Boston. Which would be cool. So early stages of that.
What?
Yeah. So we
That's so fun.
I have a buddy who's filming. It's like this dragons movie. His name's Connor. And Connor Hallway, and he's been helping us come up with the structure of this and what a sizzle should look like to sell it to a streaming service. And
Very cool.
so we're
based in Boston.
Yeah, so it'll be
Yes.
we've done. It started as it was going to be like the Boston version of The Bachelor or
Okay.
The Bachelorette. One single verse, many singles, like guy and 10 single girls or girl and 10 single guys. And then we got all these, people from different networks on Zooms, and they were like, "You're going to want to steer clear of that and do like an 8-on-8 or a 10-on-10, almost like how Perfect Match or Love Island is right now."
Love Island. Okay.
Where it's like a mixer.
Yeah.
And then since it's Boston related, we're gonna have, so it'll be it's gonna be 8 single girls and 8 single guys, and you have to be from the Boston area. So we'll lean into each neighborhood.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So you'll have the Southie bro.
Yes.
With someone from the Dot, someone really from Dorchester, and then you'll have the Nantucket Trust Fund
Oh my
girl,
God.
and then you'll have a girl who's got the mink fur from Seaport, born and raised in Seaport, and you'll have the
love
Back
it.
Bay studious one. And
Yeah.
So we'll lean into each each demo in Boston and bring them in. And then episode 1 is like a big mixer where everyone meets each other. There's no interaction with I'm like the Ryan Seacrest of this
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
So I'm backstage in like a green room, almost like in Practical Joker style, seeing what's happening on the screen,
I
maybe
am
miking people up to
obsessed
say
with
certain
this.
things. And then each episode will, as they go through the funnel, whoever doesn't have a match will exit the show, and then we'll finally narrow it down to hopefully, 3 or 2 couples. And the season finale would be on a sunset cruise in Boston where we do like a candlelit dinner on the water, and they hit it. We're trying to come up with like they either say like I do, or they like physically walk a plank into Boston.
you like throw them off into the harbor.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the show's called Heartbreakers, but the R is removed with an H, so it's Heartbreakers. So
Heartbreakers.
yes,
Maddie,
yeah.
I feel like
I know. I was going to say, like, do you need a single mom in the suburbs?
Here we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Legitimately, yes.
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to
in.
be your agent.
Okay.
Yes, you do need to be
You're
our
in.
agent.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
in.
That would
Your
be
people can call me.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Georgina.
Yeah.
I'll give you my phone
Georgina.
number.
Oh, you're in.
Oh my
we were
God.
gonna do.
That is
Wouldn't
so
that be
funny.
so
That would be
great?
so funny.
Yeah.
And I would jump into the harbor in a heartbeat.
Done. That would
Like,
be
I'll do anything.
fantastic. Yeah, let's do it.
So funny, Les.
We're gonna have a big casting call. So I have a couple of buddies who I think will be great fits that'll come out, and then we'll advertise online.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we'll
this is
film
awesome.
that portion, so it'll almost be like an American Idol style for the first episode, where it's like everyone comes in, you do like where you're from, and we'll have some sort of like maybe talent portion, and then you either like
Start thinking about my talent.
you either
Sarah.
get in or
Oh no! I'm like,
you're
oh,
there
thank
spinning
you.
glasses like Miss Congeniality, with the water.
Yeah. I mean, you just picked up a pickleball racket. We could.
Oh,
True, but
Okay.
like,
hello.
I know.
I know. We'll think of something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then right after casting, of the once we have 8 single girls, 8 single guys, they'll go right into a mixer where it's like a open area bar and everyone's mixing around. There's camera crews all there, and
Oh
That
God.
is.
so yeah, we film the sizzle
genius
next
idea.
week. So we'll have
That's awesome.
the sizzle out, and then the goal after that is pitch it to a network, and then after that, then we'll do the actual
Right,
season.
right.
of-
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that wouldn't get picked up.
It is.
I know, right?
Heartbreakers.
Heartbreakers.
Everybody loves this city.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
They
get
do.
it, but
They
like
do.
Boston content,
Yep.
your cousin from Boston.
Yeah, literally.
It's
Yeah.
just like
We talked we had so many different, specifically with Netflix, of execs that have worked on other reality TV, and they were saying the same thing. They're all in LA,
Right.
and then every reality show is in some sort of tropical environment. There's nothing
Funny,
that's
in the
like,
winter,
you know,
everybody's like,
right.
It's like Love is
scraping
Blind.
their
They go back.
cars in the driveway. My kids are screaming in the background.
Hit a pothole.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay,
Right, like
yeah.
real, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everything's
yeah,
so
yeah.
bikinis and tropical.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
where's the real,
Right,
you
that's
know?
not like-
Yeah, that's not Boston either.
No.
Yeah, let's like get
Oh,
down
I
to the.
love it.
So yeah, that's
That is such a great
Yeah.
idea. That's exciting.
yeah,
I love it.
Yes, we're
That's
excited
so
there.
great.
So that's on the
That's a good
horizon.
one. That's a good one.
This has been a dream.
I know, it's
We
such
love
You
to
guys are
have
the best. You guys,
You're
you
the
got
best.
great together. Like the yin and yang with you two is.
We love it.
You need a good co-host, and you guys
Yeah,
crush.
yeah,
Like you
thank
guys complement
you.
each other very nicely.
That's
yeah.
nice.
That is a very nice compliment.
That
coming
is a
from
nice
you.
compliment. Yeah.
You guys are-
I mean,
Thank
you're
you.
the pro.
No,
So
no,
thank
you got.
Thank you.
You guys are best in the
Yeah.
biz. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me on.